So this game has been out for 2 weeks. It's basically the only game I've played in the past 2 weeks. I've heard a lot of people say that it plays a lot like Unist, but I really don't see it that way. It feels like Melty Blood plus the King of Fighters plus a brand new shield system with Unist combos. Anyway, this game has 13 playable characters in it, and I want to go over each of them individually very briefly. Now, every character follows the same general set of rules. There are very few instances of characters that have unique tools that no other character can use, and instead they just have better versions of the universal tools. And it's those particular strengths that make that character play uniquely. And so, as a result, every character ends up playing the same game, basically. It's just that certain characters will excel at certain parts of that game more than others. So the first thing I think of when I see an Arcueid player is 5A is a giant button that just sort of wins the neutral sometimes for no reason. But her main strengths are her speed and her offensive pressure. Like, even from full screen, she can just dash in and super jump and just cover so much space so quickly. And even if you're caught blocking, she has unique ways to extend her pressure. She also has above average combo damage and can combo off of her throw in the corner. If you do land a throw mid-screen, you can't get a combo off of it, although you can choose to do the regular throw that every other character has by holding down during your throw. She has a meterless invincible DP, which is kind of rare, and she has a couple of charge moves with the Charge 5B, which is an overhead, and the Charge 5C, which is an unblockable, but they can stand shield it. But the three main strengths of this character are her 5A, her fast speed, and her unique mix-up tools. Next is Akiha. The number one thing everyone talks about when they talk about Akiha is her persistent projectile that sits on the screen and controls a big area for a long amount of time. In particular, you see it used at the end of combos to lock the opponent down. Most invincible reversals will not be able to blow through the projectile and hit Akiha, so Wake Up DP, Wake Up Super, Wake Up Heat, those are all nullified by using the projectile first. Now they can shield, but they're usually too far to land a shield counter. Akiha also has a jumping cross-up normal, which is extremely rare in this game. There are actually more characters with meterless invincible reversals than there are characters with jumping cross-ups. And Akiha's is like the best in the game. She also has a command grab super which starts combos, and she doesn't have a meterless invincible attack, but she does have a super which is invincible on startup. And she also has this move, which is an overhead that can cross up and is plus on block. She has a slightly faster version, but it's not an overhead and it's a little bit minus on block. So this character's pressure game is a little bit unique because she can cancel into her various special moves to maintain it. Like that. And next we have Shiki. On the surface, he's pretty basic. He can cross up, but it's very precise. I think his main strengths are in his 2C, which has really long range and is really fast on startup. And he can sort out this special move, which is safe on block and leads to a full combo if it connects. And he also has a meterless invincible reversal. He does have one unique mechanic, and that is after you land his arc drive, you get access to new moves. So that's what Boundary Peak is in the training options. So when you turn it on, you get access to a new move, which is down, down plus A, which gives you this overhead attack. You have down, down plus B, which gives you this really high damage combo tool. And you have down, down C, which is this thing, which is a lot of chip damage on block and is safe. But even without Boundary Peak, you still get a lot of meterless damage. But yeah, because of this move, and because of this move, and because of just general high meterless damage, Shiki's probably the best character in the game. Next is Ciel, and Ciel has projectiles. And she can use these projectiles to confirm into a full screen super anywhere on screen. She also has this flippy special move which has various follow-ups that allow her to move around the screen very quickly. Her jumping B is also very good because it has pretty good horizontal range on it, but it also can cross up. She is also one of the few characters with an invincible, meterless reversal. And next we have Vlov Archangel. He has a very big sword hidden under that coat of his. He's a little slow, but his range is quite insane. And even without the sword, he has various special moves that travel across the entire screen. And if he ever hits you with it, he's probably getting a combo. He also has a really long range overhead attack. And yes, even if he hits you with the tip range of it, he's still gonna get a combo. He also has this Rekka style move, which has 3 parts to it, and he can make the 3rd part a command grab. However, he does not have any invincible supers or special moves, so if you want to use something that's invincible on Wake Up, you have to backdash or arc drive. Or just use Moon Drive and then spam your various moon skills. Now there's one gimmick to this character, and that is that he has 2 different stances. He starts out in the fire stance, but then he changes to the ice stance after he loses a round. And in general, they're basically the same, except the ice stance's supers are a little bit faster. So yeah, that's Vlov. He's just basically always in range of the things that he wants to do. Being at this range and being at this range are like exactly the same. Next we have Roa. So one of Roa's main strengths is his ability to stay safe on block. So even after you block all this stuff, he can just throw in a special move and be safe. He doesn't have any overheads or command grabs to mix you up with, but it's still annoying to just have to sit there and block for several seconds at a time. Now Roa is one of the few characters who has a meterless invincible reversal, but his main strengths are out here-ish, where he has really good long-range pokes, and even at the very tip range, he can see it and convert into a super, which is a hard knockdown, and he gets to like jump over your head and do a bunch of mix-ups. Now you might be thinking, well gee, the horizontal lighting is great, but it's horizontal, they can just jump over it. Well, that's why he has the moon skill version, which has more range and anti-airs. The main downside to using the moon skill version is that if the opponent shields it, you can't shield back. And yes, if he connects with this version, he can also convert into a super. Now he has a couple of more tools at this mid-range that also make him very strong. First, he has this lightning, which is very plus on block. He can just dash in after it. But he also has the slide, which is faster, and if you space it properly, is also plus on block. So really, there's this range right here where he's just extremely dominant. But even if he's up close, he can just press buttons and then cancel into a safe special move and then backdash, and suddenly he's at that range again. So that's really all this character is a bunch of annoyance at this range, just doing poke, 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 and then whenever you see it hit, go for the super. Of course, if the opponent is just sitting there blocking, you can also just dash in and start pressure that way. Next, we have Kouma. So Kouma has armor. He also has command grabs, and he also has armored command grabs. He is also one of the few characters with a meterless invincible reversal. Now, one weird thing about Kouma is that he cannot chain his air attacks together. You only get one normal into an air grab or air special. But even despite this, he has insane damage. Like, really high damage. He also has this super, which gives him permanent armor for a few seconds. So basically what that means is you can do this super, and then for 5 seconds you get to do whatever the heck you want, and the opponent can't stop you. And what's really stupid is if you're in the corner and you throw the opponent, you can get a combo that way too. So this character's game plan is just to get in safely with armor, and then once you're in, mix up with your command grabs. And now we have this character. This is Noel. You can see at the bottom of the screen she has 10 little key needle things, and those restock every round, so you get 10 per round. The thing about this character is that she has insanely giant normal attacks that cover a lot of space. There's really no range in most matchups where the opponent's buttons will beat Noel's buttons. Not to mention she has this like full screen launching overhead attack. But she also has this move, which will actually take a juggle opponent and re-stand them again. So this gives you very consistent and fast-paced mix-ups when the opponent isn't expecting them. Now, she doesn't have a meterless invincible reversal, but she does have a super, which is invincible. She also loves to make really annoying noises. Next, we have Miyako. So there's really not much to say about this character, except that she's tiny and really fast. She does have a meterless invincible reversal, but her main strengths are in her mix-ups. She has this attack, which doesn't look like an overhead, but it is an overhead. She also has this cross-up, which is really annoying. And just to round everything out, she can actually combo off of her regular throw. And as if that wasn't enough, she also is one of the few characters with a jumping cross-up. And hers is really, really good. Next, we have Kohaku. So she's got a really big broom that covers a lot of space. Now she also has pretty good damage with the super, but the important part is that it gives her a really, really good knockdown. And whenever she gets a knockdown, she gets to throw the plant on you and mix you up. You can't even use heat to escape her pressure. So her mix-ups are really, really good, but the thing is, she doesn't have any invincible reversals at all. Like, this super is technically invincible, but it's not functional as a reversal. So she has to spend 3 bars on Arc Drive. Next we have Saber. Saber is like kind of good at a lot of things, but doesn't really excel at anything. She has this dive kick which comes down at a really weird angle and is usually plus on block. But her main strength is in her auto combo, which goes stupidly far, and is ironically usually her best damage in combos. She also has this sway move, which has clash frames on it, so she can really, really easily get in on characters who just spam projectiles, like Vlov and Ciel and Red Arcueid. There's a couple more things unique to Saber. She doesn't have a meterless reversal, but she has a super that's invincible. And she does have a jumping cross-up, but you have to charge it, so it's a really, really long startup. And she has some other moves here and there that do various different things, but they're all kind of gimmicky. Her real strengths are this, and this. Next we have the other maid, Hisui. So Hisui has an item toss, which is random every time you throw it. But she also has these dust clouds, which linger for a little bit and you can control some space. So with these two moves, you might think, well, gee, she's a zoning character with really good projectiles and space control. But then she also has this move, which keeps the opponent locked down as they get off the ground. And this move, which is really, really, really fast and safe on block. And obviously, because it's a moon skill, if you're in moon drive, it'll have clash frames, so you can also use it as a reversal. So this is like the best moon skill in the game by far. But not only that, but she has the greatest ability to mix you up by air dashing, because she has a ton of air attacks. She just keeps going. And at any point during that sequence, she can just choose to land and go low. So not only is she good defensively with her projectiles and dust clouds, but she's also got really good offense because of her jump attacks and because of the bento. But just like Kohaku, she doesn't have anything invincible. If you want something invincible, you have to use Arc Drive. And finally, we have Red Arcueid, who has regular Arcueid's 5A, which is still really, really good. And she still has regular Arcueid's really fast run speed and really good super jump, space control with jump B, but she doesn't have the meterless reversal. She has to spend meter to get an invincible reversal, but in exchange, she gets full screen projectiles. And that's basically this character in a nutshell, is just big fat projectiles. She also has this really weird teleport thing, which you can charge to like come down at different angles, but that's basically all gimmicks. Also, just like Arcueid, she can combo off of her normal throw in the corner. Unlike regular Arcueid, she cannot do anything about it mid-screen. So that's really this character in a nutshell, is just she's Arcueid, but minus a lot of the rushdown and plus a projectile. So those are the 13 characters in the game, but there's actually technically a 14th character if you select Hisui plus Kohaku. So all this character is it is identical to either Hisui or Kohaku, and you can swap between them, like this, and you lose nothing. The character is exactly the same as their regular version, except you don't get one of your moves. For Hisui, you do not get her projectile, which throws random items, and for Kohaku, you do not get that Molotov thing where she goes up on her broom and flies around everywhere. Although, ironically, she can still do it in the air. Now, in exchange for not having those moves, you get the other character's moves. So the A version for Hisui calling Kohaku is the plant, the B version is the Molotov, and the C version is the jump C, which is not an overhead. However, if I switch to Kohaku, the A version gives you this little palm, the B version gives you the chair, which is really good, but most importantly, the C version gives you the jumping attack, which is an overhead, and that can lead to unblockable situations where Kohaku attacks low and Hisui attacks high. I've already made a video talking about that. But yeah, the general consensus is that Hisui on point is like the best character in the game, because you still have this, and you still have this, and you still have this, and most importantly, you still have this. But now you also have access to this. Now, normally if the opponent hits Kohaku, the plant goes away. But if you're Hisui and calling the plant as an assist, it just stays there, which changes everything. So yeah, there's really no reason to play Hisui or Kohaku. You should always pick the maid duo. Anyway, that's all the characters in Multi-Blood type Lumina, just a quick summary. Again, I reiterate, every character plays sort of the same game, it's just that they have different strengths within that game. So yeah, pick a character, learn basic combos with that character, but before you go exploring all the unique things your character can do, focus on learning the basic mix-ups of the game. And then once you have a handle on the game, you can branch out into more character-specific stuff.